When I get home, I want you. When I get home, I want you. Hello, I got places to be. Places to be. Hello, I got places to be. Like me next to you, and you next to me. Hello, I got places to be. Like me next to you, and you next to me. Hello, I got places to be. Like me next to you, and you next to me. You next to me, and you next to me, and you next to me.
All right,
Hello, I got places to be.
here we go. All right, happy Monday. It is now 11:40 a.m. here Pacific Standard Time, and we are starting our stream today with a high energy stream, and we've got some cool things in store for today. 1 second. All right. Let's see. Alrighty. We are all set up. Oh, I need a light here. Alright, we are set up now. High energy stream. We are going to be vibe coding today using Claude Code, and we're going to be trying to make a high energy marketing agent. So what we've been doing the past couple days is working on our SEO agent, and it's been doing pretty good so far. We're really happy with the output. Our goal now is just we want to build out a way to see more information about our agent. We want to be able to see what's going on. We want to be able to see what's happening with our agent live. We need some feedback. Currently, whenever we work with our agents, they're always inside of our terminal, but we need to bring them into our dashboard today. We need to be able to see what they're doing. We need to be able to see what they cost, how long they're taking, how many agents are running, what they're doing, what they're thinking, and you want to see that whole history of everything that they're doing and have that full observability capability. So we want to see everything that they're doing and just look in depth at every single thing. And I think it's going to really open up our minds with what we're up to. Hey, Reed Cozy, thanks for joining today. So yeah, we're just going to be building that out and checking out to see what we can do to see more about our agents and start to interact with them. Hey, Palm Springs, lovely place. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks for watching the stream. But yeah, today I was just saying that we're going to be building out our user interface for our agents, and we're going to make it so that our agents can be seen, what they're up to. We want to be able to check out their history, check out the way that they're thinking, see what they're costing us, and just kind of look into any issues and pain points that they're experiencing. So our goal is to make our agents really, really effective, fast, affordable, and just really like able to be improved consistently. So we want to see where the issues are, and I think that the best way to do that is going to be able to like just see them and give them a way to give the user a way to interact with our agents. All right, so today we're going to be doing that inside of our task management system. So this is going to become more of like our operating system for our agents. We want to be able to have like a centralized dashboard. We want to see everything that's going on with our agents, everything that they're doing, everything that they're thinking. We want to be able to have them collaborate with each other. And I think to do that, we're going to need to have a way to just see them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out Claude Code to start with, and then I'm going to go straight into my task system here. and then I will open up Claude again. So I'm going to say inside, actually, let me start off. Actually, I think I might have actually been in the right place. So I'm going to go up one, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Claude. I'm going to say, today I would like to start by mapping out a UI for our agents inside of our task dashboard. We have an SEO agent that we have been working on in Agent Harness. And then we just really need a way to see the activity of our agent in our UI. All right, so it's going to start mapping that out a bit, and I think this is actually going to help close some of the gaps of what we have been experiencing with our agents. So I think one of the biggest issues is that they kind of are pretty productive and they work pretty well, but the problem is that they're kind of working in the dark, and it's really unclear to anyone that's using them of like exactly what they're thinking and like what they're costing us and like how they're actually doing everything. So I think the important thing right now is going to be to just really expose all of that to our user. We want to be able to see what they're doing. We want to see how they're working, how long they've been running, how long a task takes, what it costs. And that's all this information that we're going to need to see. That's all the information that we're going to need to see as that we'll be able to see as we build out more user interface for our agents. Cool. All right, so while that one's running, I want to also say like with our agent harness, one of the issues is that we need to be able to observe the agent's history and what they have done, if they are running, and how long they have been running. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build out the UI for the agent at the same time as building out the ability for the agent to like talk to the UI. So that agent needs to be able to give that information to the to our dashboard. Without that information, we're just going to have like kind of dummy placeholder information inside of our dashboard. But if I allow our agents to be able to like talk to our dashboard, so to speak, that's going to really unlock all of that capability for our dashboard. Otherwise, it's just going to be kind of guessing. It's not going to really have that like in-depth understanding of the agents. So I have 2 coding agents running right now. So what they did is on disk. What's missing is the liveness. So we actually do have that information already, but I think the next key is going to be like displaying that to the user. So we have agent harness artifacts, directory. All right, so this is going to be the big one. I think that building out the interface for the agents and like just seeing them work is going to be a really big unlock for us today. Yeah. So I'm going to actually give this information to Claude Code. About our agents. So I think what I like to do in this case is start off with a product specification. So this is where I'm gonna really have to be able to understand how exactly we're going to build our user interface today. I'm gonna have to understand like what our plan is, exactly how we're gonna get that information from the agents into the user interface, and then maybe understand more about how it can improve that process as well. So what I like to do in these types of scenarios while we're planning is I like to have Claude Code or OpenAI Codex. I like to have them create a plan with some general ideas of, I'll give it the input of what I'm trying to accomplish, and then with Claude Code or OpenAI Codex, what I would like to do is create a plan for the day, create a plan to accomplish my goals, and then I'll put that into a new file, and then I will either, if I built it in Claude Code, I'll send it over to Codex for additional additional analysis and additional planning improvements, and then I'll have them both Claude Code and OpenAI Codex. I'll have them collaborate and improve together, where I think it's going to be better than, and of course I'll be working with them as well, so it's going to be better than anything I could have built on my own or that any of these coding agents could have done on their own. So I think this collaborative process is really what I think produces a higher quality output, and I think it makes it really like a better outcome as well. So I think the next step here is going to be let's store this as a new spec file inside of our docs specs directory. Create a markdown file. So this is going to be placing that inside of our specs. Let's see. Let's use documents, code, docs, specs as our overall cross-project specs directory, so that our implementation plans don't have to live just at our code level, and can be available cross-project. So we have multiple projects here, and we have like our agent harness. This is where we're building out our agents. This is our current dashboard. It's called Task because it started off as like a task management system, but it's really becoming more of a way to orchestrate like an operating system for our agents. And then we also have our website, of course, which is pretty clear. This is our marketing website. This is how people find out about what we're building. So I think the next step is going to be that what we're trying to do right now is I want to have all of our plans get stored at this shared top level here. So right inside of our code directory, we'll have all of our plans where if something is going to be built for our agent operating system, I want that information to be available to our website, for example. And the reason why it's important to have this at this top level shared directory is so that when we build something new, that we can actually more effectively market it and tell people about it and help people understand why we built it. So if we need to create documentation on our website about this, for example, like we now have a user interface for the agent. So this is actually something that's important to be available to both building out that user interface for the agents and also available to the marketing website as well, so that the marketing website can say, hey, like this thing was just built out. So now we need to be able to tell our users about it so that things aren't just getting built in the dark, so that both our users, our website, our actual application, our platform that we're building, they all can coordinate together and no one's really left out of the loop. So having this information at a top level, at a shared directory, at a shared hierarchy, allows all of them to kind of work off of the same information together. Cross project specs, cool. So this is a new thing that we're building out now, our agents dashboard. Let's take a look here. So what we're gonna do now is just make sure that we're on the same page, that we're aligned with the actual specification plan that we built out here. So our goal is to add an agents surface to our dashboard that lets us see what our agents are building on Agent Harness and what they're doing. Both live, so like a live run, we can see the information about the live runs. The first consumer is our SEO audit agent, but the surface should be agent agnostic so that future agents can pull in information for free. The pitch in one line. Today, the only way to know what an agent is doing is to read JSON files that it leaves on the disk. We want a user interface for that. Cool. Now I'm gonna just actually pass this into OpenAI Codex so that I can just have a second opinion about this new plan that we're building out. So inside of here, I'm gonna actually close out my current work in progress, and our new spec is called agents-dashboard.md. So I'm just gonna say in agents if it pops up. Cool, so now it knows about this file. Let's take a peek at this and see if it needs any improvement or additional clarification. So I'm actually noticing that I don't have this project or docs actually in GitHub yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new repo for this. I'm just gonna drag over our docs folder and bring that into GitHub desktop. Then I'm gonna add a new repo here. I'm not gonna push it just yet. So just create a repository. It'll say specs and docs for internal specs and docs for all cross projects, or for all projects in ongoing AI. Cool. So now we can just start to create commits for this. Yeah, nice. All right. So let's send this into Codex and see what it comes up with. So the reason why I made that a new Git repo is because I wanted to actually track our changes to our specifications, our new documents that we're creating, our new plans. Whenever I work with, whenever I'm making like revisions to a specific document, I like to track each stage of that so I can kind of step backwards if we are making changes and I don't like the path that we go down, I can easily just step backwards and make sure that I can have the historical version of that, so I don't end up losing the work that I've done. I don't lose like a good place and time for where we are currently. So any of these changes, I want to be able to easily roll them back and then take a look at them if I need to, or like undo any of the modifications that I'm making or any of the revisions that I'm making. So Codex is already taking a look at the spec that we created. It says it has a good starting point. It has a good boundaries of what to do and what not to do. All right, so this is now finding out issues inside of our agent harness and how particular like session IDs might not be like correct or production ready. So this is good. It's actually fixing it as we are hooking it up into our dashboard. It's already finding the issues for us. So it's nice to build sometimes just in the terminal and just have like the data getting produced for us, but sometimes when you actually are trying to use that inside of a real environment, a realistic environment, you'll start to find gaps about where your project could be improved and like how things might need to be revised or like improved upon. So here's the changes that it made. Let's take a look. All right. Send this back now to Claude Code. So this is really now taking shape. We can see about of being more of a operating system now for our agents. So what we're trying to do is move towards collaborating with the agents inside of like a centralized space. So one of the issues is that the biggest issue is that we have to use code right now specifically to work with an agent, and it's impossible to really see what an agent's done, what it's cost, how it can be improved, and that makes it really difficult to actually collaborate with an agent effectively. So what we're doing right now is we're really just working towards building out a new agents section inside of this dashboard. Currently, some of these links are placeholders, and it's been built more around like tracking the agents and like, or tracking tasks, specifically tasks and issues. So like more of like a project management board for like a software project. But what we really want to do is obviously have more agentic capabilities, have the agents like available to us inside of our UI, and we want to be able to interact with them and, you know, see them inside of our interface. So if I go here, you can see that we have all the info there. That's cool. You so quiet. Hee hee. Hey, can you hear the music over in Palm Springs on the stream? Is that coming up? Cool. So So what we're doing right now is we're building out a plan to build out our user interface for our agents. So what we're doing is we're just kind of working between Claude Code and OpenAI Codex to create like a really in-depth plan for bringing in our marketing agents inside of our dashboard. So we're currently building out our SEO agent to improve the SEO of our website. And my goal is to be able to kind of operate that SEO agent entirely from within our dashboard that we're building out. So I put that in here and I'm trying to map it out inside of here. So as I use our dashboard, I'm making improvements to it as well. So it's like this process of like, it creates a flywheel effect. The more that I use it, the more I see where the issues are, and the better I think the product becomes. So my goal ultimately is to work with our agents entirely within our dashboard, and then maybe allow us to work with any other surface eventually. So not just the dashboard, but maybe like my phone or like even a voice chat eventually. But for now, it's just going to be within our dashboard. So I've done a couple passes now on how to actually go about showing the agents inside of our dashboard, and I think we're getting to a point now where the plan is pretty solid. So I think this might be our last pass. So what Claude Code is telling me right now is that Codex gave us a great revision, and it's talking about the security issues, which I think is great, even though we're not like a public product just yet. I think security is important to start thinking about early. Make explicit how agents populate run metadata. I'm not really sure what this means exactly. So cross repo ask number 2. Let me see. I have to kind of dig into what this is actually referring to. The ask. Okay, here. So it says a top level run identity manifest for presets. Plan work eval should create a run ID before invoking role queries and write a small run JSON manifest in the artifact directory. The manifest joins run ID. Okay, so it's just going to be storing the metadata for, actually for this one it's going to create just more info about the evaluation for the work. It's going to store more information about the actual run. That's fine. For simple agents, run ID can just be the query session ID. That's fine. Oops. It's really kind of becoming more of like an integrated system so that our dashboard can actually run our agents. This is really kind of what we've been aiming towards the whole time. So it seems like two seemingly disconnected systems, but I think that having the ability to see what our agents are doing directly inside of our dashboard is going to be a critical step. And I think this will unlock so much and allow us to really kind of dig into the next steps of releasing this. So it says number 1. Okay, let's tighten them then. you need anything from me, feedback, questions, anything. Alright, so this is the change we just made on on our dashboard, and I think we're gonna have to start moving this more towards away from tasks and issues, but more towards like an agentic control system and an agentic dashboard so that we can see all of our agents here. But ultimately, the real goal with having our tasks and issues here is so that we can actually like collaborate with the agents using our dashboard. And we have chat ability already. We have the ability to like talk directly to our agents, but I think that there's going to be another level of actually having, like if I was able to, for example, have an agent work off of this directly or help me improve our issue or turn an issue into smaller tasks or like maybe suggest improvements to a specific issue, I think that'd be really great. Also, I think when it comes to like specifically like marketing agents, we're not just working towards like product development issues and tasks anymore. We're now working towards actual like abilities for the agent to like improve what we're building, like the overall like company, the overall product itself, like the overall like branding, the marketing, like helping to generate ideas for like our marketing and generate content and improve our existing content. So it's not just around like product and product development. It's also about like other aspects of like building a business or building like a SaaS company. We're really trying to bring it together so that our agents can work with our other agents. So like some of our, let's just say our marketing agent like department, like some would be like handling our SEO, our planning out our YouTube videos, and we would like these agents to be able to work together to kind of collaborate and be more productive across all of these different fields of the company. So really what we're at right now is, you know, building out marketing agents, right? Then inside of here, we're gonna have, you know, an SEO agent, and then another one for, you know, IT video planning. Then maybe another one for something else. Let's just say, you know, like email newsletters. And then you can see how like this becomes an entire marketing department for the company. You know, they're helping us to build, let's see. Yeah, so they're helping us to build out the actual company and like to help us actually grow the company. Yeah. this is where we're starting off with, but then we end up with other departments like, let's just say product development. So then that could be anything like with, you know, bug classification. So when a new bug gets added in or a new bug gets discovered, we can have an agent specifically for that, another agent for finding security issues. So this could be an agent that's constantly like scanning through our code repo and helping us find new bugs or anything like about working with, like, let's say our dashboard, and our agents are having, it discovers like a communication security issue between like how our dashboard interacts with our agents, and it allows anyone to like kind of spoof another user's agents. So that's something you would definitely want to like help reduce, like, and discover, and like have something proactively finding bugs for you. Another issue could be maybe something like subscribed. Thanks. Feel free to ask questions. Subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Another thing that we could do for product development is suggesting new features. So this could be like another agent that's continually using our app, or like taking a look at all of our customer support queries, and it's helping us figure out like suggestions for improving our product itself. So you end up with, like, you can see like different departments within here that will help us. Let me see. Yeah. So this is really where we're at right now, though. We're looking specifically into marketing. This is specifically like our goal for right now, is just focusing in just on the marketing capabilities, the marketing functions for the company. Because I think this is really how you can tell whether or not the actual agents are doing their job, as if the company's growing due to the work that they're doing. Cool. Submit these changes. So this is how I store, you know, the historical context of what we're working on here. Yeah. Okay, let's implement this now. Let's build out the actual feature that we've been planning. So let's implement this now. Let's spin up an agent coding team to build out all of the different aspects of our plan. When doing the DB updates, another on our UI, another writing tests for functionality, stability, another one for developing an API for the agents and the dashboard. So what we're trying to do now is we want to have multiple agents coding at the same time. We don't want to just have a single agent working at once, because this is really where the power of having agentic coding systems and having vibe coding agents really, it pays off, because we're able to now have multiple agents working at the same time, which is kind of like one of the most powerful unlocks. Obviously having it write code for us is super important, but what we're able to do now is we're able to have like a team of agents working at one time, and all you have to do is just tell Claude Code that we want to spin up more agents. We want to have them all doing various aspects of like the product development. Okay, so it does give me feedback now. So there's no DB work, there's no database work. Okay, no API, no test runner exists. For number one, let's do the path that is most long-term, most beneficial for our long-term plan. Building an agent OS. For number two, again, let's focus more on the long term. What is going to be the best path for us in 6 months? So I also want to start creating a database connection for our agents, because right now I think that's one of the issues, is that our agents are just storing all of their work as actual files inside of their projects inside of themselves. So everything that they remember, everything that they do, all of their instructions, those are all stored as files right now. And that's good for an MVP, that's good for like a minimum viable product. But our real issue is that a lot of what we're building out is going to be like kind of stuck as a file. And you'll see that in the artifacts directory inside of the agents. So like this SEO audit is storing all of the files related to the audit inside of itself. So like audit like this specific website, our website for example, and recommend the highest SEO opportunities to drive organic traffic, right? So this is all stuff that should be stored inside of a database. It shouldn't necessarily just live inside of the agent forever. And this is good for just building out the agent and testing itself out, but when you're actually trying to like use this, it's going to be really difficult and kind of like poorly designed to have the agents just storing files inside of like their own services. So when I could see a point where we just have hundreds or like thousands of servers running our agents, and like maybe even tens or hundreds of thousands of agents running simultaneously. So using like a file-based approach is just not sustainable after even just a handful of like servers. At 5-10 servers, you're going to run into major issues. So we're going to have to start thinking of ways for our agents to store files and store information, store their knowledge, and store their inputs and outputs, and store their work in a way that allows them to work with like thousands of other agents potentially. And I think storing files is just not the way to do that. I mean, it's clear that's not the way to do that. So while this one's working on actually like interacting with our agents, I want to also start planning out that new step of having our agents work with a database and like a centralized file storage system. So with our agent harness, one of the current issues is that artifacts or files or work is stored inside of an artifacts directory, specifically on the agent, specifically within the agent itself. We need an approach that allows us to potentially have tens or hundreds or even multiple thousands of agents and servers working together asynchronously. So at the very least, our agents should have a centralized DB access and a centralized file storage. Let's create a plan in our documents, code, docs folder as a new spec file. Let's map out our best options. We're going to be using AWS for our agent infrastructure. So we need to lean into the AWS platform as much as possible. Alright, so hey, what's up? Thanks for joining us. Reed Cozy, thanks for joining us. Thanks you for chatting. Do you have any agents that you're working with today? Are you building, vibe coding? What are you up to? Alright, so we're doing two big things right now. One is we are working on having our agents connect directly into our dashboard, and we want to be able to work with our agents and track them and observe their work inside of our dashboard. And the other thing we're doing right now is we're making another plan to have our agents collaborating more efficiently with a centralized file storage system and giving them a database that they can work out of. And I think the big thing right now is that we're working towards getting our agents actually up and running on AWS so that they could actually be productive and producing real results and creating measurable results. So currently our agents just live on our laptop here, and they don't really actually live out in the wild. So we're trying to get to releasing this as soon as possible and like building something that actually exists for real people and our real users. So I think I'll probably will need Docker as well. So I'll probably need to create a Docker image so that our agents can spin up pretty easily and use the same agent harness. Alright, so we have two multi-agent processes running. So we have one multi-agent process running and one planning process running. So let's do something else while these two guys are actually happening or doing their thing. So let's create another window here so that we could track something else. So I'm going to go into our code directory. I'm going to start up a new Claude instance. And I'm gonna say, I'm actually interested in turning this more into a multi-workspace platform. So like right now we're within our task tracker. So what I want to do is like we have this project management. This is really more of like a project management area. So we're building out like specifically like products, like a software product, and this is like really designed more towards building out a software product. But ultimately, like we are going to want to have an area just for our marketing agents. So we will need to have, what I'm envisioning is kind of like a multi-product interface and like multi-workspace interface. So I think our marketing agents are going to need to live within like a marketing area, specifically a marketing area. And then our product development agents are going to need to live within here, which is our product development area. So they're going to both have their own needs and capabilities. But I think what we're building right now is an SEO agent, which is part of obviously the marketing agent area, the marketing like a workspace. And then within our product development workspace, we can have more of like a product development agent that has access to like GitHub, that has access to maybe like Sentry, so that it can pull in bugs and stuff like that. And then maybe it has access to some other aspects as well. And these connections to all of these different workspaces are like kind of going to have to be segmented based off of their like their functionality, I guess, like their what they're for. So what we're looking at is starting off with creating this new workspace functionality and like the ability, give the user the ability to switch between different workspaces. So I think right now what I would like to do is just get rid of where it says task tracker, and then maybe just have a workspace selector here, and then just have like product development and marketing workspaces, just so we could have 2 workspaces. So I'm gonna say inside of our tasks dashboard, we are really working towards building out multiple workspaces for different types of work. Currently, what we have is mostly geared towards building a software product, But since we are also building out marketing capabilities, we're going to want to have our multiple workspaces. We're going to want to have multiple workspaces. To start with, we just really need 2. Product development or software engineering, and then marketing. The vision I have is between the task tracker subheading on our logo, I would like a workspace selector with a select drop down for navigating between workspaces. So workspace name, then like icon, workspace icon, workspace name, and then, let's just say current workspace name, other workspace name. Example. This will allow us to manage context. Well, this will allow us to switch between task types easily and not be overwhelmed with marketing, sales, support, dev, all in one space. Then obviously I think the next thing after that is going to be like collaboration between the spaces, but I think for now, like, let's just kind of isolate them or keep them in their own silos, because that kind of will help to separate the different core responsibilities of each of these departments. So we have our AWS backend, and that's going to be in our new specs directory. Let's actually close this out. Don't save. Alright, so we have our new, let's actually also have this one in as new spec. So this is what we were working on with the multiple workspaces. Active workspace, stored in a cookie. Alright, let's do for this, I think we should do, oh dude, this is insane. There's the one I liked a few songs ago. Cool.
Je ferme les yeux. Je me réveille ailleurs.
So let's create all of this as a new spec in documents, code, docs. Then we can plan it all out and iterate on our plan. So this is our new documents directory that we've been building out, and you can see that we've been using it more and more. So now we have our 3 active specs that we're working on, which is our agents dashboard, our agent harness, storing the files and having the agents collaborate with their files and storing them in like a more centralized area, so that files that are getting created and files that are needing to be stored long-term can be stored in the database. So this is like our process for having our scalable approach to having the agents working. Now we're also adding in a new spec as well for the agents, for the new dashboard updates, where we're going to have multiple workspaces so that people can navigate between different contexts of work to be done. So once this spec is done, then we could actually have Codex as well also revise it. But I think that the agent harness one is actually ready for Codex to take a look at as well. So now do a pass on like this one.
Dans votre cœur, mais la férocité ne demande aucun courage. Aucun courage. Je ferme les yeux, je me réveille ailleurs. Je suis avec eux, un voyage intérieur. Peu importe où je suis, le jour ou bien la nuit, je ne suis plus jamais seule. Je n'ai plus jamais peur.
It's not so much a task dashboard, but I think that's what it's kind of modeling itself after. But it says we have the workspaces that we're mapping out, and then we're designing them. This is our pre-implementation plan. And then here's the decisions at the bottom. Everything in open questions is still up for grabs. Let's take a look at the questions first. No user-defined workspaces. That's good. No per workspace permissions yet. No per workspace integrations or configuration. Cross workspace searching is not in yet. Workspace specific theming colors beyond the icon. And then migrating existing rows to the right workspace. They all start in product. Manual reclassification is fine for the small data set.
It's cold outside, and the paint's peeling off of my walls. There's him there now beside, in a long cold grey hat, smoking a cigarette. Now life fades out, and I wonder what I'm doing in a room like this. Shadow on the wall near the bed. You know I hate to ask, but her friend's electric. Only mine's broke down, and now I've no one to love. So I found out the reasons for the phone calls and smells, and it hurts and I'm lonely, and I should never have tried, and I miss you tonight.
One
So it's
second.
time to leave. You see, you meant everything to me.
Un sentiment acide. Un sentiment tenace, une douleur vorace. J'ai oublié la veille, mais tout sera pareil. Acide, un sentiment. Un sentiment acide. Un sentiment tenace, une douleur vorace. J'ai oublié Je voudrais dormir. Je n'ai plus le temps. Acide, un sentiment. Un sentiment acide. Sur ton visage lisse et souriant. Acide, un sentiment. Je voudrais dormir. Je n'ai plus le temps. Acide, un sentiment. Un sentiment. Sur ton visage lisse et souriant. Acide, un sentiment.
All right, where were we? Alright, let's check out our new task workspaces inside of Codex. So in task workspaces, the new spec that we just created, let's give this a pass now. A read through now. So I tend to run into limitations with Codex quite a bit because I'm on the small plan. I think I'm on the $20 a month plan or something. But I really just use it for evaluating the specs right now, and I try not to overload it with a bunch of like coding tasks. But when I was using it before with the coding tasks, I found that it could sometimes over engineer occasionally, and I'm curious to see that if that's still the case, because sometimes with the over engineering, you'll end up with a lot of added complexity in your projects, and it's like really unnecessary, and it makes it more difficult to maintain and then reason through it as well. So if I was to try Codex again, I'd probably want to try it like exclusively for like a few days just to see what it actually, how far along it's come. I'm assuming that they've made pretty good progress on it though in the past few months since I've used it last, but yeah, I'm curious to try it out again. It's been a while. But yeah, this is basically all I'm using Codex for nowadays, because it's because the only reason why I even have it is because I have ChatGPT, which I use quite a bit, and I think it would be helpful to maybe give it a shot. Maybe it's worth another glance. So I'll have my protein shake right now. $50 grams of protein. So I think one of the issues that I'm already running into with this spec is like thinking of the URL path for the long term. And one of the issues, one thing I was thinking of is whether or not we should have the organization ID in the URL. So one thing that we could do is like we would have like our dashboard URL. So it's like something like dashboard, or maybe even app .ongoing AI or .ongoing.ai, and then this would be like, it would first of all check whether or not the user is authenticated. So like just being here, like every route would check the authentication. So I don't need like a dashboard prefix or something. One thing I could do though is I could have the org ID. So like org ID. And then maybe the workspace ID. And then we could have everything else the same, like, issues / 1, 2, 3, or, tasks 1, 2, 3, 4. But then we need maybe like I think that might actually be effective enough for our needs. I don't think we would need anything else. But let me actually copy and paste this into ChatGPT and just see what it thinks, because I might be overlooking something. Is this an adequate URL structure for our app? So yeah, this is the question right now: is should we even have the organizational ID? Because if the workspace ID is specific to an org and cannot be reused, do we even need the org ID in the URL? That's the question. I could probably get by with just this. So that should be actually better. And then if we're using, I think they're like UL IDs or something, seems better. And then is it UL ID versus UU ID? For database primary keys, should have just listened to anything.
Come outside for the night. Take your time, get your life. Got it The career's more at stake when you in your prime. Fuck that paper, baby, my face on the dotted line. I've been flying out of town for some peace of mind. It's like always, they just want a piece of mind. I've been focused on the future, never on right now. But I'm sipping that kombucha, either pink or brown. I'm the one that introduced you to the you right now. Oh my God, that be bait, well alright. Tryna fight in the night, come alive. Ain't it sneak? Ain't it?
shot, I don't fucking you friend. I'm going crazy, shot, had me in the deep end. She not in the scene, she just tryna go. I just been icing my hoes. I just been dripping my hoes. Just holding out the level shot. I got these hoes on their toes. If I put the bitch on the road, she tryna fuck with my old. I got this hoe with me, she tryna show me some. I got flows for days, these niggas ain't on nothing. Me and my bro like, man, you know we on one. We in the spot going crazy until the sun up. You worried about that hoe done chose up. Pistol solid in the kitchen, can't get it cold up. What the fuck, these niggas acting like they know it. Double O kick this shit we told up. Switch out the bed, these niggas get rolled up. Everything hit, everything.
Don't think shit stink, pink gators. My Detroit players, Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. Dead right, if the head right, Biggie there, every night. Papa been smooth since days of under rules. Never lose, never choose to. Bruise, cruise, who? Do something to us. Talk, go through us. Girls want to us, wanna do us, screw us. Who us? Yeah, Papa and Pump. Close like Starsky and Hutch, stick to clutch. Yeah, I squeeze 3 at your cherry M3. Bang every MC easily. Recently, niggas frontin' ain't saying nothing, so I just speak my peace, keep my peace. Cubans with the Jesus peace, with my peace. Packing, asking who want it. They got it, nigga flaunt it. That Brooklyn bullshit, we on it.
Can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me, and I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken. You're so fake. Biggie, can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me, and I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken. You're so fake.
I put O's in NY onto DKNY. Miami, DC, prefer Versace.
That's right.
All Philly hoes know it's Moschino. Every cutie with the booty for the coochie. Now who's the real dookie? Meaning who's really the shit? Them niggas ride dicks. Frank White push me sick, called the Lexus LX 4.5. Bulletproof glass tips if I want some ass. Gon' blast squeeze first, ask questions last. That's how most of these so-called gangsters pass. At last, a nigga rapping about blunts and bras, tits and bras, menage a trois, sex and expensive cars, and still leave you on the pavement. Condo paid for, no car payment. At my arraignment, no for the plaintiff. Your daughter's tied up in the Brooklyn basement. Face it, not guilty. That's how I stay true. Richard.
Nobody pray for me. It been a day for me. Yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances. Finesse a nigga with some counterfeits, but now I'm counting this. Parmesan with my accountant lips. In fact, I'm down in this. You say with my boo babe tastes like Kool-Aid for the analyst. Girl, I can buy your Westie world with my base stuff. Ooh, that pussy good. Once you sit it on my taste buds. I get way too petty once you let me do the extras. Pull up on your block and break it down. We playing Tetris. AM to the PM, PM to the AM phone. This I'm your per diem. You just gotta hate them from. If I quit your BM, I still rock Mercedes phone. If I quit this season, I still be the greatest phone. My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke put a baby in a spiral. Soprano C, we like to keep it on the high note. It's levels to it, you and I know. Bitch, be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Who that nigga thinking that he frontin' on that man? Get the fuck off my stage, I'm the same man. Get the fuck off my dick, that ain't right. I make a play, fucking up your whole life. I'm so fucking sick and tired of the Photoshop. Show me something natural like Afro with your pride. Show me something natural like ass with some stretch marks. Still take you down right on your mama couch in polo sock. Hey, this shit way too crazy. Hey, you do not amaze me. Hey, I blew cool from AC beyond that dead dog. Ay, watch my soul speak, you let the meds talk. Ay, if I kill a nigga, it won't be the alcohol. Ay, I'm the realest nigga after all. Be humble.
Alright, a little bit of behind the scenes there with the YouTube banner editing there. So, or the YouTube thumbnail editing. Alright, next step. I think what we're gonna do. Okay, so we're doing actually quite a bit of heavy lifting right now across all these different projects, and I think what we're gonna have to do is just kind of like complete all the different things that we have in progress currently. So it looks like our agents thing is now done, but I'm not seeing that right away. So maybe I might need to, is that not here? Okay, so we don't have an agent's URL just yet. So I need to figure out why I'm not seeing the actual agents on the sidebar just yet. Should I see the agents on the sidebar? I'm getting a 404 currently. Let's merge it into main if we need to. Should help. So this keeps refreshing. Move it into main. All right, fine. So okay, let's do number one then. Okay, let's do number one. Ah, forget it. It's already doing it. No problem. I think that I should commit what we have here. Take these out. Storing some new specs. And then I also want to check our spec file for the task workspaces. Let's take a peek here. So resolved ends workspaces without migration. Cool. I think we're happy with this. So here we are. Okay, so I'm gonna have to have it set itself up. It looks like it has new configuration variables here. So I'll have it set itself up. So this is the agent that's working on AWS integration. I just need to make sure that what we have planned for our AWS integration is going to be possible to be developed locally as well. I think there's a couple options I've seen for like S3 bucket emulation for local development. So I'm going to have to do that. And then storage local, only the metadata moves into SQLite, which means artifacts still works. The dashboards render this markdown file path is unchanged. SQLite advises you the indexed queries list run by status, filter by agent without making the artifacts opaque. The AWS SDK only ships in agent harness storage AWS, which is optional. PnPm install in a fresh checkout full 0 AWS packages. Developer local dev unchanged in spirit. The current agent's dashboard.md reader uses agent harness sessions directory, and the agent harness artifacts. Ugh. All right, I need to reset our API keys. I'll just have to put this on for Alright, oh fucking shit. Alright, cool. Alright, one more time. Alright, we are good to go now. Alright, I leaked my keys like 3 times in a row. Anyways, it's probably good to rotate them every now and then. I don't think I leaked the entire key, but I think enough of it was leaked. Okay, let's see. So now we have our agents list here, and we're seeing that the last SEO audit run was a failure. So if I click through here, we can see some information about that run, and it looks like it has dummy data about the runs. And I think if I click through here one more time, yeah. So yeah, cool. So it's looking pretty good. This is all placeholder dummy data. So I think now what I'm gonna have to do is connect it to a real run for our agents. So I would say Cool. Yeah, it's making updates so that we don't ever leak a key again on accident. I don't think it actually leaked it, but then when I was trying to rotate it out, it looks like I was using OBS improperly and accidentally leaked partial on the key there, so whatever. It's fixed. So I'm gonna say, how can I run an agent from the dashboard down? For example, I would like to trigger an SEO audit for my site ongoing.ai. I see placeholder / dummy data currently. No real obvious way to trigger a new run manually at this time. Yeah, sounds good. So we were using a non-standard API environment variable for the API tokens. It was like Claude API key. I think we should also update this to use the actual correct Anthropic API key naming system. So let me just put that in here as well. Yes, do that. Also, I see that we are using a non-standard naming pattern for our API key. Claude API key should be converted to an Anthropic API key. Yeah.
When I get home, I want you. When I get home, I want you. Hello, I got places to be. Places to be. Hello, I got places to be. Like me next to you, and you next to me. Hello, I got places to be. Like me next to you, and you next to me. Hello, I got places to be. Like me next to you, and you next to me, and you next to me, and you next to me, and you next to me. Hello, I got places to be.
High energy break.
Looks like there's rain up ahead. Like there's a crack in the heavens. Feels like my day could be turning. Like I can tell that my luck's gonna change. If you could see me now, I'd probably let you down. But that's enough for me. You got me begging, baby. Looks like I'm on my knees again. Feels like the walls are closing in. Looks like I'm on my knees again. got me begging, baby. Looks like I'm on my knees again. Feels like the walls are closing in. Looks like I'm on my knees again. 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 Looks like
Yeah, do that later. So I think with an SEO audit, it makes a lot of sense to give it a URL. But what I'm realizing is that it's going to need input. So the SEO agent is going to need input for the URL that we're going to be analyzing. Then I think that let's see. So I think that there's going to be like complex. So it's not that difficult to give the agent like the URL as an input when I run the agent from our dashboard. The problem is that the way that I want to run new SEO scans and new manual agent runs in the future. Because the thing that I was thinking is that we're going to have like more complex data inputs, and not everything is going to be able to be like typed in by hand. So like something like a JSON input, like a complicated JSON input, even a simple JSON input, you don't want to have users typing that in by hand. So something like it's saying like input equals ongoing.ai. Super easy, not that complicated. But if input is a user and the user has an ID of 123, a first name of Nathan, last name Hope, then their email is example at example.com. Then you end up with all these other types of information. You could end up with their city, their state, their country, their zip code. And sometimes you might want to have this type of input for something like an email marketing agent. Sometimes the input shape is simple, like a simple URL. Sometimes it is a little bit more complex, and sometimes it's going to even have multiple objects. So like maybe a user might have a domain or something, they could have a domain. We could be passing in data like a domain with a URL of HTTPS ongoing.ai. They could have we could be passing in a large amount of data, a large amount of information that isn't going to be possible to manually type it in every single time you want to do a manual input. And you can create a form for this. I mean, you can have a form where you would expect, if you're going to do a manual run for one of the agents, that you're going to be able to pass in that data manually. However, I think that's not the most ideal way to do that. I think what we're going to want to do is have some sort of like data source, I guess, for the agents to run off of. So in this case, for example, just for my domain, I might want to have like knowledge or data, stuff like that. These are different ideas of like ways to refer to potential inputs for the agents that we're going to be running manually. So I'm going to be able to want to trigger an SEO run manually for my domain. The question that I'm kind of facing right now is, how should I give the data to my agent? So let me ask Claude what it thinks. I have an issue though. Some data to send to the agents is going to be simple, like a URL. Other data eventually could be quite complex, like an object for a user that has multiple sub-objects, like arrays and addresses and contact info, business info, etc. How should I accommodate for this? How should I accommodate for this? How should I pass data along to the agents for these example runs? Reed Cozy. Hi, how's it going, Reed Cozy? Thanks for stopping in. So we have our agents now, and I think what we're doing is we're trying to make it so that we can pass data along to our agents to do a new SEO audit. And the question that we're running into is, should our agent accept a simple input like a URL? Like, this isn't that hard. So if I was to run this agent right now and I wanted to run a new SEO scan, if I wanted to run an SEO scan for my URL, I'm gonna have to have a pop-up, and then I could just be like, scan ongoing.ai. But then the problem is that what happens when we have more complicated data? What happens if we want to send email marketing info about our user? Like, what if you want to start an email marketing sequence about a specific user? You can't have someone typing this stuff in manually. This could actually be like complex. So what I'm asking right now is I'm talking to Claude Code, and we're trying to figure out the best way to approach like a more complicated structure of input. So when we have the user, for example, it could take a lot more. It could have more data points. A user could have things like an address or business info. They could have their first name, their last name, their email, etc. And all that data is like important to the agent. But then if we're going to manually run the agent, how can we give that data to the agent? So that's kind of the issue that we're facing right now. So we're trying to solve this, and Claude gave us a couple ideas. So we could have like a form that is pre-built for the agent. That's one way to do it. So now we're actually looking at maybe doing like fetching data from a source. So that's interesting actually. Interesting. So what would be a good way to... Seems like we're actually going to want to have additional data types, I think. So we have our tasks, we have our issues. I think we're going to also want users as well to store. I think we're kind of leaning towards adding in user data and maybe business data as well. So if I had a lightweight CRM functionality, that would add a lot of value, it sounds like. Business objects with the people at the business.
I'ma hit the good, throw it back. When I look this good, I just wanna be bad. I know you probably heard this, but you never heard that. Did they tell you I might be out of my mind? Or I might be the reason you came in here tonight. It ain't no fun if you don't cross the line. Come and get a dig there one more time. Show me how your body feels on mine.
Hey.